Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'm very sorry about your experience, and I hope you are able to find justice.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'd love to hear from Mr. La Sorsa sort of what legislation already exists that has addressed this. You had some ideas in your testimony, and so I'd love to hear from you kind of what you think we can do in Congress to help address this.
Sure. So there are various laws which were written in the late 60s, 70s. The Title 18 U.S. Code, I believe it's Chapter 119, 2510, identifies what a covert device is. But again, it doesn't get into the intent behind it and the manufacture and sale of legitimate use cases versus illegitimate. So that being the case, as we are focused here on private spaces and temporary rentals, what I would recommend is establishing a federal standard for privacy. So most states, I can't speak to all states, obviously, there's a lot of them, but the most states have a expectation of privacy as a basis for their laws. That is the, let's say, the issue between state to state. So what is actually considered private? Is it, as Ms. Chadwick mentioned, the common spaces? That's different in a lot of states as far as if you can rent a room and the common spaces are shared between different people that can rent rooms, or is it the common space of a home like a kitchen or a living room? Is that technically a common space? So that federal standard, I think, should be worked towards establishing a federal standard for privacy.
How does one define a private area? Because if in a situation where someone's taking a victim to the living room, knowing that that might be a private area and they can surveil there, how do you kind of address that?
In my testimony here, what the simple way that I looked at it was, if you were in your home and you expected to not be surveilled by somebody else, I think that's kind of the limit there. So if you're in your home, if you're standing near an open window, there's not an expectation of privacy. If you're in a space in your home where somebody where they're legally allowed to be can't see you, and you have let's say there may be personal things that might occur there, I think that's what should define the line.
And then this is for anyone. How can someone protect themselves right now? You mentioned earlier there's devices, but it's very difficult to use them. Like, what can people do right now to protect themselves and ensure that whether or not they're being surveilled?
If I may start, I start with just advising people of the lack of protections and that they may be exposed to this. So for instance, just to put this in context, we do travel security risk assessments. So if I have a client traveling to, say, China, we don't tell them to look for the devices, we tell them to be aware that they are under surveillance. So the same practice almost exists if we're trying to inform people and protect people as they travel and rent Airbnbs, Verbos, etc. We say just act like you're under surveillance because you can't expect privacy in a lot of these places.
Would anyone else like to comment on that? Okay. I yield my remainder of my time. Thank you.
Thank you.